Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Adinda Mutiara Zahra and I am an English education student at Syarif State Islamic University, Jakarta. And today, I want to share my thoughts and review from the book that I have read, and the title is Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. Well, I think from the title of this book is pretty self-explanatory. It was a biography book of the genius man from this century, and yes, it is Steve Jobs. He was the co-founder of Apple Inc. and Pixar Animation Studios, and this book was written by Walter Isaacson. The author itself is an American writer and journalist known for his great biographical works on famous public figures. He also the CEO of CNN and has written biographies for several influential individuals, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Albert Einstein, Benjamin Franklin, etc. Walter Isaacson have the ability to provide a deep insight to the lives of those remarkable figures and their contribution to the society, and it makes his book widely popular among the readers. Now, without any further ado, let's dive into the book. This book was published on October 24, 2011, and have 573 pages. In order to write this book, the author interviewed Steve Jobs in 40 different times and also have 100 interviews with Steve's closest friends, colleagues, co-workers, and competitors. And in my opinion, this biography is very inspiring to me because it talks about a man who really changed the world by his invented in technology. Because all of the technology that we take for granted today, like smartphones to personal computers, we are all developed by Steve Jobs. And the reason why I choose to pick up this biography, because I immediately love this book, and I think as I progress into my adult life, I wanted to draw an inspiration and to motivate me to do better things every day. Because reading about successful people is inspiring and it also motivates you to become successful yourself. Alright, so the first part of this book tells the story about Steve Jobs' early life. He was born on February 24 in 1955 to an unmarried parents. His biological mother couldn't marry his biological father because his biological father was a Muslim and a Syrian. And his grandfather didn't like it because Steve Jobs' biological mother was a Catholic. So his mother decided to give up the baby for adoption, and Steve Jobs was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs from California. They live in the San Francisco Bay Area right inside the Silicon Valley, and that affected Steve Jobs as a kid because Silicon Valley was filled with great tech companies and great engineers. That's why he was inspired to be a technological entrepreneur who created technology products that changed the world like iPod, iPhone, iPad, and Mac. As he growing up, Steve Jobs became a rebellious kid. He would often play pranks on other people, and the habit of playing pranks led him to meet his future business partner, Steve Wozniak. They were introduced by mutual friends because both Jobs and Wozniak were very into playing pranks and also into electronics. So they are getting close easily, and they played pranks together and built electronics for fun. But turns out it wasn't only for fun, because Steve Jobs had a way to make money from it. There is one device that they built and it was called the Blue Box, which would allow them to make long-distance phone calls for free. And Steve Jobs said, "Let's not only do this just for fun, let's try to make money." And then from they that got money, they selling Blue Box and other cool devices. By that moment, Steve Jobs and Wozniak continued to make other cool electronics, and they decided to make their own company called Apple Computers, which was named because Steve Jobs was a vegan diet and only consuming apples. And by the time they started selling the electronics and computers, they very quickly met a big investor, and eventually they created the Apple II computer, which was a giant success. And later on, they were developed a Macintosh, which became a huge success to Steve Jobs. And quickly, Steve Jobs became very successful in his 20s and found success at a very young age. So I think the biographies of Steve Jobs offer valuable lessons and motivations for readers, such as we must follow our passions, because Steve believes that passions and enthusiasm were crucial for achieving success and making a meaningful impact in our lives. And me personally have a few things to love about this book, and here it is. First, by reading this biography, I could saw the behind the scenes and look at the creation of some Apple's most iconic products, like the Macintosh, the iPod, and the iPhone. And the second is, through this book, we can learn about Steve Jobs' personal life and life experience, including his relationship with his daughter Lisa and his battle with his cancer. To be honest, I really enjoyed reading this biography, and one of my favorite quotes from this book is, "If today were the last day of your life, would you want to do what you are about to do today?" And these quotes make a big impact of the way I think. He talks about why it is important to see every day as if it's our last day. So we must stay focused on the things that matter the most. And I think it was a really good reminder for me to do important things every day and to minimize things that are useless and wasting my time. Overall, this book is well written, informative, and it provides a fascinating life story of one of the most successful entrepreneurs of all time. I highly recommended this book for anyone who is interested in learning more about this iconic figure that truly changed the world. And there's a quote that says, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones that do." And Steve is that one. Well, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you enjoy it, and please share your thoughts in the comments below and join me next time on my other book review. Until then, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.